Hello. This video is going to be an overview, kind of loose, on things I have to share about the situation in Ukraine. I've got some notes, a page of notes, very, very loose. I'm just kind of try to quickly go over a lot of different topics. You can look them up for yourself for people that have better presentations than I do. They can show you the news articles and all that along with as they're talking. More the value of this is going to be just offering more of a condensed whole bunch of stuff that people might not be aware, they're probably not aware of, and I wouldn't want those in power who are manipulating the situation to get away with exploiting just entire countries of people. So I suppose one place to start is it's pretty obvious, probably to a lot of people. Wars generally always involve some sort of resources people are fighting over. In this case, there's Ukraine's kind of a breadbasket. A lot of fertile soil land. I have to learn my geography better, but I believe it's the Black Sea, perhaps. Russia's kind of landlocked, with a few exceptions. So if they were able to take Ukraine, that would give them more undisputed control over that sea. That's just the south of Ukraine. I should know it, but I don't. It's Crimea. Crimea is very important to that. There's the gas, natural gas is a big part of it. There's just a lot of things. I'm still educating myself. A big aspect is the European plain. It's very hard to defend a big wide open plain. You want mountains, you want forests, that sort of thing, because that stops other empires really from just rolling right in through with tanks. There's like nothing to slow them down. So being on that European plain and being in between the East and the West, it's both the East and the West want to control that territory so that they have the head start to spearhead into the other one. And then who doesn't have that is going to be kind of screwed, because they're going to be fighting right on their doorstep. With a big wide area they have to spread their forces out over, while the attacker would be able to just punch through at one particular point using the whole, land, sea, and air. So to go over, President Zelensky, they offered him to evacuate him. He said, I need ammo, not a ride. I believe what the West was wanting to do with that, if they wanted to evacuate him, bring him to indoctrinate him into their sort of elitist culture, and try to bribe him and control him. They want puppet strings on smaller countries. And I really don't think they were counting on him to stick it out and, fight for his country and fight for the city is under siege, and for him to stay in the capital like that is just unprecedented for any modern world leader. And I think a lot of it has to do with he's not one of them. He's actually his own man. So I think that really stresses the West out. I'm not going to hold it against him so much what he chooses to do because of the situation he's in. It's like very desperate. Some people say, "Oh, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't accept help from these people. You gotta do what you gotta do." And he's like on the basically on the front line in a sense, being so close, like at staying at the Capitol, all that shit. Like, so I wouldn't want him to get manipulated by NATO though. Which I think is, yeah, that's what I got next to go into. NATO is corrupt as fuck. I won't say Russia's, say the Kremlin is corrupt as fuck too. But I don't want to like label all the Russian people as, as one thing, which they try to push that here in the media. But the Kremlin is corrupt as fuck. They're reacting to what NATO is inducing. NATO, it's America and the European countries. The European countries really don't have shit for military so much, but America, like, just eclipses all the other countries as far as military spending. So, and then Europe's like, oh yeah, fine, set up your bases here. And NATO keeps expanding eastward, keeps, pushing missiles and stuff further eastward. It's just look into these. Just don't assume it's one side good, the other side bad. Especially if you're in the middle. If you're defending your homeland, I'd say you're good. But as far as like the big major mega powers, they're corrupt and they only have their own interests at heart. Uh, America's done nation building so many times. If you look up American nation building, you'll find a bunch of shit. Look up MK Ultra project. Like, you really don't want to trust the country that has as much fucked up shit that's already proven. That was our Central Intelligence, our secret. We have secret police agencies that was fucking kidnapping people and doing weird brain experiments on them. Uh, yeah, like you don't want when those people are policing the world and they tell you one thing, you can be sure their intentions or their motives are another. Which brings it to proxy war. Yeah, this is basically a proxy war. At least that the West is fighting with Russia. Like, it was a really fucked up thing. I'll have to start making playlists of stuff that I personally myself come across. But it was basically like America's fighting Russia to the last Ukrainian, which it sounds kind of like the standard operating procedure of like a lot of America's tactics. I mean, yeah. Let's see what I got. I was just skip around a lot. I got Putin here, and I'll say the Kremlin is, as far as I'm starting to see like some bit of a cultural sort of genocide war front going on to it. Because I'm trying to like learn the language a bit, and I find out like, hey, certain characters were not allowed back from the 90s when it was the USSR, and as far as what I know is some of the terms and conditions that Putin wants to enforce upon the Ukraine is they have to use the Russian language. So anytime that a bigger power comes in and tries to squash like a language and institute their own sort of trying to erase a people and then trying to make that way you have a bigger army. That's why that's another resource that people fight over is populations. He probably sees it as 5-10 years from now, if he was to take the country or whatever, his the next generation would be brought up more able to be recruited and conscripted into his army. And it happens a lot of places all over the world. That's just one thing I sort of learned. and he has to build up in a sense, and China does, is there's like this sort of if the enemy does it, we have to do it too. If if the whatever the foreign powers that be that want to destroy our way of life and all this, if they started putting chips in their head to make them into super soldiers, and they just like sold their soul for like whatever, well, it'd be like, well, we got to keep up, so we have to do it too, or else we're going to lose. That's how the technological progress is going. We kind of already see it with nukes. Oh, they got nukes, so we have to build nukes. Well, now it's getting to genetic engineering. Might as well just go into DARPA from this point. It's just Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. I can't remember. It's an advanced research projects, but it's all military weaponry. But America's budget isn't going necessarily to the infantry soldiers on the front line. It's going towards like really weird Orwellian dystopian. You could look this up in like Popular Science or Popular Mechanics, as Popular Mechanics came out with Wired, Wired magazine. They also had an article. It's back 2012. I'm trying to remember. They had a Brain Initiative where they were wanting to figure out how they can put electrodes inside of a soldier's helmet to help, reduce PTSD. The problem is the soldier has problems with what he's being commanded, or from the shocks of war. Like, no, that's obviously he's mentally ill from that. The leaders that send and create the wars, that's totally justified. So we just need to fix the problem by rewiring the soldier's brain to get rid of any of those guilt feelings or any of that shit. Really, like, America is like Babylon, and its people are kind of just like our military industrial complex is like the golden calf, and we're just fucking feeding it, and worshiping it. And that doesn't pull any of the other superpowers. Like, it doesn't get them off the hook necessarily either, because even if say China is an underdog right now and they're a rising power, well, when they take over, let's say, and they're the new world order, it's not going to be any better or anymore. It'll just be the same shit, just in a different flavors. It's all the same end, though. Yeah, so some of the things we got, if you look up the Ripsaw tank, that's some people here in America invented that, and they're just so proud of it. And it's this drone tank, and it could like literally just like chop through a fucking crowd of protesters like nothing. If they wanted to, like, there's very very thin line of like ethics. Like, it's like the Velvet Glove meme, but it's on an iron fist, and they're just keeping it there just long enough to change the cultures. There's the LRAD, which is long range acoustic device. There's a microwave. There's this microwave fucking gun that they invented, but they haven't used, because if they used it, it would literally fucking cook people. Like, it would burn your eyes out and shit because it reacts with water. So they could only put it on someone for a few seconds before it starts getting from less lethal to lethal and cruel and unusual. There's all the fucking drones. Which, yeah, video games. I mean, they're training the kids to fucking pilot the drones through video games into like worship killing and shit. This society is fucking evil. But speaking of games, real quick, if you look at who created GTA, right? The guy, Rockstar Games. He also created State of Emergency. I remember playing that back in the day, and it had like this sort of dystopian corporations run everything. They have genetically engineered enforcers. And playing hearing the radio on GTA 2, it's all jokes and stuff, but it's all like South Park criticism. It seems like he's trying to say something like maybe shit's fucked up, but he can only say so much because he's got to keep it within. It's a game. There's there's like this billboard. It's got like a picture of a lobotomy on it. It's almost like it's saying, "Wake the fuck up." This is 15 minutes long, so I'm gonna get through the rest some of the more of this shit. Okay, yeah. See, so I guess continuing from that, with Americans, they just want their entertainment, and their caring about other places is extremely shallow as fuck. Like, they'll care as far as for a few seconds, but then it's just we're so beaten down here, and we're so indoctrinated into the fucking Rockefeller education system or Rothschild, I forget which one's made it what it is. And a lot of people just want this very surface level of involvement, like this very, very partial knowledge, and then they just go off emotionally after that. And I guess I mean, this, like, if you start arguing with someone, if you see two people arguing about America, all you gotta do is start saying USA, USA, and then it just shut down the whole conversation, and then one of them be like, yeah, yeah, that, yeah. We won the conversation because of that, and that's because we militarily dominate the world, and part of this whole thing with Ukraine is part of it, partly just to pull on our heartstrings to get us prepped for war, so that we're willing to go over there and cause a regime change. Which, fuck, man. And yeah, Biden's just he's he's a, he's a useful idiot as far as he's probably acting. He's probably, some of it's legit though. Some of it's probably some legit dementia and whatnot. He's meant to be a weak leader so Trump can get elected, and then he'll just rally us all. But that'll be after the fucking fact, after shit's already fucked up, all destroyed in Ukraine, and then of course we're gonna fucking go. We'll probably have companies that'll want to go back there and build it back better, all in time for the Great Reset. So don't trust the West, but absolutely, I mean, fight the invaders. No country is ever justified to invade another country, and there's more I was going to go into, but I don't want this to pass 20 minutes. It's about all my memory I have I mean, there's some aspects like, oh, I'm going to make some playlists that will be like military information. I have to put a bunch of stuff in the playlist. That's how I'm going to organize my channel up, I guess. But some of the playlists would be specifically like, if you're over there, you're fighting, maybe this information will help you. I guess I could finish with some books if you can get and understand The Art of War by Sun Tzu, 48 Laws of Power, there's 33 Stratagems written by the same person. Basically anything from Robert Greene, but especially 48 Laws of Power and 33 Stratagems. Let's see, Art of War. I know a bunch of others, it's not coming to mind. But those three are definitely like big to start. I don't know, I'm drawing blanks. I don't want any dead space on the videos, so I'll have to do this video again. I had to get it out of the way because it was super anxiety, and it's like, I need to do this video before I can do anything else, or else I'm not going to be able to rest. So, there's this. Maybe I'll do another one next on something else. Bye-bye.